Welcome to Networking Arizona with host Carol Blonder. You'll hear interviews with businesses located throughout the valley. Networking, it makes a difference.
If I traded it all, if I gave
So
it
welcome to the show.
all away for one
I know it's crazy out there, but it is beautiful out there, and it is a great day for networking, and I can't wait to bring on my first guests who have been on with me before. I have with me Elisa, and I want to say it correctly, it's Krsilik.
That is correct, Carol.
Now, tell everybody who you are to Mountain View Funeral Home. And I also know that you have with you someone special, too, who has also been on with me before, Hillary Samples. And welcome back to the show. Tell everybody a little bit about yourselves and what we're going to talk about today.
Excellent. Thank you, Carol. So my name, again, is Elisa Krsilik, and I'm the Vice President of Mountain View Funeral Home and Cemetery. We're located out in Mesa, Arizona. I've been a funeral director for 26 years, specializing in serving families both when they've had a loss, but more importantly, educating them about the importance of planning ahead and letting their family know what their wishes are before that need arises.
Now, Hillary, what is it that you do there? I know that I've seen you around. You go ahead and push that closer to you. I've seen you a lot out in the papers, and that you guys are all about education, all about educating the public. What is it that you do there?
I help people do their advanced planning. So I'll meet them at their home or at the funeral home, and we'll go over what they want as far as their funeral or cremation services.
Now, you're also here to talk about something special today. Let's talk. I've heard that you've got some great things for the veterans out there, so let's talk a little bit about that.
Great. Thanks, Carol. Well, first of all, let me give a big shout out and thank all of our veterans for the service and the honor that they have provided our country. It gives us all the safety and the ability to sleep good at night. And so what we want to do today is kind of educate our veterans out there, or maybe you're the spouse of a veteran, the son, daughter, or parent, and like to know what are the burial benefits for our veterans and what the government is going to do for them.
Well, what will the government do for them?
Okay, that's a great question. One of the biggest misnomers about the veterans is that the government is going to take care of me. Hillary does a lot of outreach into the community, and a lot of times folks will come by and say, I don't need your services. I'm a veteran. They're going to take care of everything for me. And simply not true. What they need to understand is that the government does provide a burial service in the VA cemeteries. They do not provide any of the services that are needed by the funeral director or by the funeral home. So in other words, whether you've chosen to be buried or to be cremated, you still need a licensed professional to come to the place of passing, bring you into our care, take care of all the professional necessary paperwork to make the arrangements for the burial or the cremation, as well as be able to help walk the family through a viewing, a memorial service, however they'd like to celebrate their loved one's life prior to the actual burial, of which can then take place in a VA cemetery.
So actually, the only thing that they take care of is that you have a spot.
That is exactly correct. And, you know, there's pros and cons of both. I've been to the VA cemetery many times. It's a beautiful service. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to talk veterans out of not going to the VA cemetery. What I think they do need to know, however, are what are the differences, what are their options, and why would they choose one over the other?
Okay. We've got some time today.
Great.
Okay. And I do know that you do free consultations with people.
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
Okay. And so if they're going to call you, do you go to them? Do they come to you? How does that work?
It works either way, or there's also a third way. Some families are very comfortable in the comfort of their own home. We want to be able to make them feel relaxed and at ease. So we will often go to their home and sit down with one individual, a couple, or we often believe in the buddy system. And what that means is sometimes people will say, well, my sister and I have been talking about this, or my neighbor.
It's a great idea.
Absolutely. We'll bring in pizza if they'd like. We'll come in and bring in dinner. We've done wine and cheese events where we will just absolutely make it as enjoyable of a time to help them celebrate how they want their life to be remembered. And so we can do that in their home.
Now, you have three different funeral cemeteries where they can be, correct?
Yes.
Okay, where are they located?
So we are out in Apache Junction, right on the trail. We are in Queen Creek, right off of Ellsworth and Ocotillo. And then, of course, our main mothership, if you will, is in Mesa, right on Main Street between Sossaman and the 202.
Now, I know that you're also rated with the Better Business Bureau, and I want to make sure that we did this last time, and I'd like to see if we can do it again. I'd like to open up the lines to the audience, which is you also do a free planning guide with people.
Absolutely. And if people would like to call in, it's free for the asking. It gives them the tools they need for the simple as 1, 2, 3 steps to put in writing the things that their family is going to need to know.
Here's what I think, and I'm going to just do this with everybody, and I don't remember if I did it the last time because I know that my father had passed before you had been here. I'm almost positive of it. But I'm going to talk to everybody out there. Do it. Call for the personal planning guide because it's just information. And all of the information that you have will make it so much easier on you and on everybody else. It's afterwards. It's when you're gone. You're where you wanted to be, which is great. But it's the family. It's the family afterwards. And no matter how much you plan, too, it's never 100% perfect, but you make it easier.
That's right. And what we find oftentimes happens, Carol, is when people don't talk with those they care the most about, there's 2 questions that many times are never answered. And those are, did we do the right thing? And is this what my loved one would have wanted? And I've had people say, what haunts me? I don't know if my mom wanted to be cremated. I don't know if burial was her choice. We never talked about it. All we can hope is that we did the right thing. And unfortunately for many people, the right thing is what fits into the budget that they can afford. So even if they know their mom or dad did not want to be cremated, because there are alternative ways where you can have a more affordable funeral with cremation, people will choose cremation just based on the cost alone.
Right. Now, our lines are open here. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Especially if you're a veteran out there right now, they want you to know, they want you to understand that what you think may not be. And so our number here is 602-277-5369. We want you to get the free personal planning guide. They've got 3 locations for everybody. You also do a tour, I know, as well.
That's right. So the second option is they can actually come into any of our locations, come out to the cemetery. We're very good drivers, and we take the families around in a golf cart, battery operated, so they're safe. And we'll show them all the different beautiful places for memorialization or permanent placement. Our funeral home has been completely remodeled from ceiling to floor. And so it's very modern, it's absolutely beautiful, and we're very proud of it, Carol, so we like to showcase it for them.
Absolutely, and I think everybody should do something like this, especially if you are getting closer. How about you're listening out there and you've got a parent, a mother or father that are close to the age, and you haven't talked about it. This is something great to get. It's a personal planning guide. Our number here again is 602-277-5369, and toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You can check them out on their website. It is Mountain View Funeral Home and cemetery.com, and is all spelled out. You can also call them for that free consultation. It's 480-832-2850. I also want to get out, before we go to our first break here, I want to get out. You have some special things coming up, so we want to talk about those real quickly?
We absolutely do, Carol. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. So we're big into the community and giving back to the community. So we are very excited. We want everybody to come out on March 12th, Saturday, March 12th, between 10 and 12. We are going to be having a spring celebration in our field of celebration. And what that is, Carol, it's a time for family to come together, make a flower bouquet to place on their loved one's grave or take home with them. We're going to have little games and prizes for the kids. We provide free food. We're going to have some light entertainment. And it's a great place for the family to come and celebrate those they care and love about the most. And it doesn't cost them anything. Now, if they'd like to make a donation, it's going to benefit the Humane Society. So the Arizona Humane Society is who we've partnered up with this event, and all donations will go to that cause.
That's wonderful. That's going to be Saturday, March 12th. It's a free event. You can donate if you want. It's going to go to who again?
It's going to go to the Arizona Humane Society.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go to a break. We're going to talk further. I know this is a conversation that people don't like to have, but I think it's a great conversation, and everybody should know, and they want you to know, too. Call in here for the free planning guide at 602-277-5369. Check them out at Mountain View Funeral Home and Cemetery.com.
if I traded it all. If I
Welcome
gave
back.
it
And we are talking with Alyssa. I can't believe this is hard for me. Krasilic, and you are with Mountain View Funeral Home and Cemetery. We are talking about something that a lot of people may not want to talk about, but I was talking at the break with you guys, and to me, I really honestly think that everybody should do this. I recently just went through the loss. It was one thing. I'm going to say another thing too to everybody out there. You know, when you have one parent still living, they sort of are doing that kind of stuff for you, and you're handling it a little bit, lots of it, maybe a lot of it more than I had to. But when the second one goes and there's just you guys, that's it. It's really tough, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
Now, veterans, we've been talking a little bit about veterans and what they don't know that they're not going to get. Let's put it that way. We've also got our lines open here for everybody to get their personal planning guide. They do free consultations with everyone, rated with the Better Business Bureau. They have 3 locations. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. I believe that everyone should have this in their hands. Okay. Let's say a veteran doesn't want to be buried in the National Cemetery. Do you have other selections? What do they do?
So we actually, out at Mountain View Funeral Home and Cemetery, we have a veteran section. Now, the nice thing about our cemetery is that we don't restrict where only veterans or their spouses can be. At the National Cemetery, there's restrictions on who they will allow. Obviously, being a honorably discharged veteran is one of them. And then you either are allowed your spouse and or independent children that are disabled. Okay. At our cemetery, we have a veteran section that is probably one of our most beautiful areas, and anybody that's related to the veteran can purchase spaces and be all together. Family heritage is important, and choice is also important. For some people, it's having the ability to be under the shade near a tree, which is something that we're very well known for. For some folks, they want to have a bench where they can sit and have some time quietly with their loved one or visit with other family members. So in the veteran section, it gives them the opportunity to have either the casket buried there or like cremated remains. So we do offer a variety of different choices and ways that they can memorialize their loved one.
That's nice to know, because that would be something that I wish I could have been able to do. Is if I wanted to, if I made my decision and knew that I could be with my parents, you know, when I know I can't and they're in California somewhere, there's no way. And that's kind of nice to be able to know that if I wanted to, I could, and I can do that with you.
Right, and people do that frequently, as we've been talking with Hillary about the idea of pre-planning. When people pre-plan, they come and they select their spaces ahead of time so their family can choose to be together or decide where they want to be. With the National Cemetery, unfortunately, they don't give you the choice of choosing. The burials take place in order from when a death takes place, and so you really don't have a option of where you're going to be. It's basically where the government's going to place you next.
How do you know that's where you want to be? That's not fair, right? It's almost like kind of like when you're listening to this going, wow, I would want to know where I want to end up.
That's right. It's a little bit more structured, and it's just different.
Now, does a spouse receive the same benefits as a veteran?
Yes, they do. They will also get the burial space. So when we talk about what is included, it includes the burial. It includes a grave box. It is not a vault where the casket is lowered into and protected. It just simply keeps the ground level. And then the memorial will have both of their names on it together.
And what happens if they want to be cremated? Is it the same sort of thing except not in a box, or how does that work?
Yes, that's exactly correct. Most of the time they'll use niches, which is going to be in a columbarium, which is like a wall that's going to have different cubicles in it, and about the size of a 12-inch by 12-inch space.
Now, again, we want you to all have this. It's a free personal planning guide. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. All of your information is on your website, I know that, which is Mountain View Funeral Home and Cemetery, and is all spelled out.com. Their phone number direct, it's 480-832-2850. They also do the tours, so you can also call in for that. And I know this is not like, a weed whacker that someone's giving away, I can't wait to pick it up, but write the number down, because it's something that you're thinking about, something that's gnawing on you that you should be taking care of. Their number again, it's 480-832-2850. All right. So let's go to this one. Can you explain to us how a service in the National Cemetery works versus a service for the veterinaries? Is just sort of the same that you had mentioned?
It's a little bit different, Carol, and that's a really good question. Because at the National Cemetery, because they have restricted hours, they're going to be there Monday through Friday. You don't get to pick the time. You can request a time, but it's going to be based on availability. And so they do a maximum of a 30-minute committal service in a shelter. You're not actually at the grave site where the burial will take place. You'll bring your family in, and either the casket or the urn is placed under the shelter. The family's given 30 minutes to have their service, and then it concludes right there. The difference in how we do things is that we work on Saturday. We will also do burials on Sunday. We give families the opportunity to pick morning, afternoon. We've actually even done some evening services. And so it's just based on what's best for the family.
Now, all that information is on your website, too, because I know when people, they want to look at it. They want to see what it's all about. You got to have a tour on that website as well. But there's nothing like seeing it in person. Go ahead.
That's right, Carol. You're absolutely correct about that. You have to come see us in person. We were actually nominated, voted, and won Cemetery of the Year for 2015. So that was a really exciting honor for us, and we keep the cemetery grounds absolutely beautiful. We're fully green year-round, so we do our winter rye, and we have an amazing outdoor team that does a great job keeping everything absolutely beautiful.
Check it out. They are the Cemetery of the Year. They won the Cemetery of the Year for 2015, and I can believe it. You know why? Because I don't know how long you've been with them, but you have decided that you really want to take this kind of a business to the next level so people can really understand why it's so important for people to do this. You've upgraded the place as well. I know you told me that you had a whole facelift on certain areas. Am I correct?
That's correct. And it's fun to work for the Corey family. They're a young third-generation family. And Greg, our owner, has 3 small children. And he really looks to this as an opportunity to continue to grow the business with the high hopes that someday his children are also involved with helping run the business.
Now, the National Cemetery provides a concrete grave liner. Okay, I knew that. And if a family wanted to upgrade to a vault that seals, can they do that?
They can, absolutely. So as I mentioned,
first of all, you got to tell me what it is.
Okay, so at the cemetery, they are going to have the casket lowered into this concrete box at the VA cemetery. And that's intended to keep the grounds level and keep the graves in line. When the family makes the decision that they want a vault, they can purchase a vault, and that would be installed in place of a concrete liner. For some people, protection of their loved one in the casket is important, and they want to make sure that no water gets in or out or any other earthly elements.
Now, I know we've been talking a lot about this, but I want to change it because, of course, everyone out there, you don't have to be a veteran to be here, but they're just talking about this particular issue today. But anybody, and the last time you were here, it's amazing what you can do for anyone with their wishes. It's about almost anything that they would want. Go ahead.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. So we sit down with the family, we walk them through what's important to them. For some, it's having a religious service or some kind of scripture or poems being read. For others, as we're talking about the veterans today, is having the military honors. And so we help coordinate that. A lot of people think they're not going to get military honors if they're not buried in a VA cemetery, and that is simply not true. We can help make all of the arrangements depending on their rank and their eligibility, Carol. We can have the gun salute. We have taps played. We can have a chaplain say some words. The flag is presented to the next of kin. It is probably one of the most beautiful and emotional ceremonies that you will ever see is when the veterans, they do a phenomenal job.
You got to check them out. They're at Mountain View Funeral Home and Cemetery.com. Call and go have a tour. Check them out at 480-832-2850. It's a free tour, and they're rated with the Better Business Bureau. You're also going to call in here and get yourself that free personal planning guide at 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. The other thing before we go, now we're going to be going to a break again, is that, and I think we're going to have to come back. Well, we might well do this one. Does a veteran have to take care of the burial arrangements ahead of time, or is that a special service that you provide?
We take care of the things in our cemetery, and that can be done ahead of time. Absolutely. You know, Carol, one of the advantages that people don't realize with a private cemetery is that you can take care of everything ahead of time on payments. So it's not like they have to come up with all of this money in advance. When somebody passes away, then you're coming up with the payment in full.
Well, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, I want to talk about that. I want to get back to that because that's
Perfect.
very important. Also, really quickly, again, tell them what's happening March 12th.
Okay, March 12th, come out and visit with us. We have our spring celebration. It starts at 10 o'clock, goes to about 12. We're providing food. We're going to have some games for the kids, the opportunity to make a beautiful flower bouquet for your loved one or take it home. And donations are going to the Arizona Humane Society.
Check them out. They're at Mountain View Funeral Home and Cemetery.com. Their phone number is 480-832-2850. They will do a free consultation with you, and they'll come to you, or you can come to them and check them out. We're going to go to a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit further about all of this.
Thank you.
If I traded it all, if I gave it
We're back.
all away.
We are talking about a subject that may or may be something that you want to talk about or not want to talk about, but you should. And you should be listening up, everybody. And our lines are open here for everyone to get the personal planning guide from Mountain View Funeral Home. And what I want to do is I'm going to let you even call throughout the rest of the show so that everybody gets a chance to get this. And if you don't think it's for you, or if you think someone that you know might like it, you can call in. How about those kids out there that are driving around and their parents are getting older? Believe me, you're going to want them to have this, and everybody talk about it. It's a personal planning guide, and our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-11. Before we went to a break, we were talking a little bit about the cost, and not necessarily how much, because everybody's going to have a different amount, obviously, for what their wishes are, but that they could make payments, and I had no idea about that either. Go ahead.
Thanks, Carol. So one of the things that we have found is that people do have different budgets, they have different needs, and they have different wishes. So what we do is we sit down with the family, Hillary and I will talk with them, and we basically set up a consultation of what's important to them. Then we figure out what they can afford on a monthly basis so that they can make monthly payments so that it does not put a financial strain on them, and it gives them the ability to take care of their arrangements before they're needed. All too often, people will say to us, oh, I don't need your services. I'm not going to die yet. I really believe we live in a society where people are in death denial. And you'll hear people say, well, if I die, and I say, Carol, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Be prepared. Take care of your affairs so you're not leaving these difficult decisions and financial burden to your family. So by making payments, they can take care of it ahead of time so they're not burdened with the total cost on the worst day of their life.
Well, Hillary, I wanted to ask you, can you go valley-wide? Do people, from anywhere? Because if they're listening to this, you've got 3 locations, but there's a lot of people who might like the idea of the services that you offer, and they go on a tour, they look at it on the website, or they come and visit you, and they think it's absolutely stunning. Do you go all over to do a...
I certainly will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And I can do during the week, evenings, weekends.
And you make it very personal and friendly, and it's a friendly conversation.
It's a very friendly conversation.
Okay. So now, some of the things that you wanted to get out there that you're very excited about. Let's go ahead and talk about some of those things.
Okay, I'm going to share one of the events with you, and Hillary will talk about the other. March 12th, mark your calendars. We have an amazing spring celebration. It is all free. We are asking for donations. That money will be donated to the Arizona Humane Society. We're going to have food. We're going to have entertainment. We're going to have games for the kids. And then we're going to have the ability for families to make a flower arrangement, place it on their loved one's grave, or take it home with them.
And on March 24th, which is a Thursday, we're partnering with Keystone Law of Chandler. They do estate planning, and they'll be there to answer any questions about estate planning and wills. And we'll also be talking about pre-planning, and people are welcome to come join us for dinner, ask any questions they want, and we'll gladly answer them.
Sure. Now, these 2 events that you're having, let's go. I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about them each individually, if that's okay. March 12th. and that you said is a spring celebration celebrating people's lives and also learning about pre-planning, which is so important. That event is free, you said, and you're going to have refreshments and things like that and games and prizes and all sorts of things. It seems like a strange thing to have happening at a funeral home, but you know what? You want to make it fun because you know what? It's a conversation that may not be, but you make it fun.
That's correct. And we've actually started several annual different events. We have a fall event that we do, and we had an amazing turnout. We had over 500 people come, and we had the ability to decorate a pumpkin, place it on a loved one's grave, or take it home with them. And I'll tell you, Carol, people were so grateful because not everybody can afford to go to some of these activities that cost a lot of money, especially if they have a lot of kids. And we want to have it in an environment where they feel safe, where they're not afraid, and they can ask questions and not be scared. And so we make it very, very inviting and warm.
Some of the questions that they might want to think about that you could put food in their, food for thought in their mind for the 12th, what would they want to come there and kind of talk about?
So one of the things they like to talk about is their loved ones, the people that they care about the most. That is happening more and more because Arizona, as we know, is a very transient people transfer here from other places, and so sometimes they have family that's buried in another cemetery in another state, and they don't have the ability to get back and visit their mom that might be in Chicago or New York.
So I can come and just talk about my mom and dad even though they're in another state?
Absolutely.
Listen up, everybody, because a lot of people have that situation. Go ahead.
That's exactly correct. And it's so great when you'll meet families or friends that'll say, you know what, we just walked through the cemetery and we'll place a flower or, visit somebody that maybe the grave doesn't have any flowers, and they just want them to remember that even though family doesn't come out and visit that person, that they are remembered.
That's really neat. So that's going to be March 12th and the hours of that?
That is from 10 until 12.
Okay, let's talk about your March 24th event. Go ahead.
That, again, we're partnering with Keystone Law, and we'll be answering questions about estate planning and the benefits of that, and then also pre-planning and the importance of that. And we'll be there to answer questions. And, again, seating is limited with that. So if I could have people reserve their seat by March 21st and call the funeral home at 480-832-2850. And again, that is March 24th from 5:30 to 7 at Mountain View Funeral Home.
Now, is that information all up on your website?
That is, and it's on our Facebook page.
Okay. And in terms of it, I want to talk about how important it is because it makes sense to me. I can really see why estate planning and pre-planning go together. They're not the same thing, and that's another thing I want you to talk about. Go ahead.
Thank you, Carol, and you're so right about that. We have people come all the time and say, I don't need to worry about this. I have a will. It's all in my will. But what people don't realize is that the will is read oftentimes days, weeks, even months after a person passes away. And so when people get their estate affairs in order, that has nothing to do with their funeral or their cremation or where they want to be buried. And it goes back to those two questions. Did we do the right thing? And is this what my mom would have wanted? And it happens, Carol, all the time where people will say, I had no idea my mom did not want it to be cremated. Now they're reading the will going, please, whatever you do, don't cremate me. And it's too late. They've already done that. And it does happen. And so when you partner with somebody, that can help answer these questions like Keystone Law, they know the legalities of getting the affairs for the estate in order, setting up a trust, making sure that the loved one's assets are protected. We then protect the family by making sure that the funeral plans are in place and locked in, so we make a great partnership.
Right, because it's not just that you just want to be cremated or just that you want to be buried somewhere or whatever. It's way more than that. And how about those people out there that are my age and they're getting close to 60 that, we don't want to think about this. We're thinking about retiring and having the rest of our life be fun, but you know what? All of these things you should be thinking about. Don't just because it's not just for the older people to think about. It's for everyone.
Carol, I'd like to share a very personal story, if I may. A good friend that I had met through a networking group, 54 years old, had talked with me numerous times about, I should probably do something. And I was very adamant about making sure that him and his wife sat down and talked. And he didn't. And he thought about it. He said he was going to do something, but kept pushing it to the back burner. And very sadly, just a couple weeks ago, he passed away. Very unexpected, very sudden. And my prayers and my thoughts go out to his family, because they had to set up a funding on the internet to be able to ask for resources, because his family was not prepared. They did not know what he wanted. They didn't have the money and the resources available. And that always saddens me when something like that happens. And so death has no age. It doesn't take a holiday. It doesn't take a weekend off. And it certainly has no prerequisite as to how old you need to be. So it doesn't matter how young or old. I'm 48, and I've had my arrangements done for many years.
And again, you can make payments on all of this. Everyone, listen up. Get this personal planning guide. It's free. They'll do a free consultation with you. Call here. I'm going to let you call throughout the rest of the show for it at 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Everyone should have it in their hands. They're rated with the Better Business Bureau. They're #1 Cemetery of the Year for 2015. Their website is Mountain View Funeral Home, and it's all spelled out, and cemetery.com. Call for a free consultation. They have 3 Valley locations, 480-832-2850. And don't forget to check out all their events that they're having and get involved.